Welcome back to Excel, a mental evolution podcast, and I'm your host, Dr. Seth Rose. And today is episode 57, where we're a little late to the game here, but we're going to be talking about some reflection questions to ask ourselves as the new year 2025 gets started. And I'm borrowing this from a colleague of mine, Justin Sua. Shout out, Justin. If you don't know Justin Sua, he's got a great podcast, Increase Your Impact. Highly recommend it. Even shorter episodes than the one that I have and more frequent. Sort of a reason why I kept these as short as possible was because of the episodes that he gives. Just so impactful and great nuggets. So go ahead and check out his podcast, Increase Your Impact with Justin Sua. But I'm going to steal some of his questions that he always asks year in and year out, questions to ask yourself before the new year starts. And I'll put these in the comments as well, so that way you can have them on hand as well. But the first thing is really looking at, like, what am I grateful for happening this year? And when you're looking at these reflection questions, you can think big picture. You can think of just bullet points. You can go into specifics, as much detail as you want. There's no right or wrong way to do this. But what are you grateful for that's happened this past year? The second question is, what are the hard things that you overcame in the previous year? What are the hard things that you overcame? The next question is, what did this last year teach me? Maybe it's you separated out professionally and personally, but what did it teach me? Next is, who positively impacted my life this year? What are those positive impacts, and who comes to mind? Number 5 is, how am I different from the person I was last January? So essentially, how did you grow? How are you different? Number 6 is, what are the relationships that I need to strengthen for 2025? Again, you can separate it out personally and professionally. The next 3 questions kind of go together, but these are 7, 8, and 9. The first is, what do you need to start doing? What do you need to stop doing? And what do you need to continue or keep doing? Again, personally and professionally, you can separate them out if that's easier. Number 10 is, what's one small thing that I can do to get 1% better every day this year? It can be as simple as listening to Seth's podcast every Monday. It could be reading 10 pages of a book during Monday through Friday. It could be moving at least 10 minutes every day, whether that's a workout or something hard, or even just a walk with the family and the dog. What's that 1% thing that you can do to make those marginal gains across the year? And then lastly, what's your why? Why do you do what you do? Both personally and professionally, I think is important to separate, because they might be different. They, probably are different. What's your why? And if you've thought about that question before, then maybe it's time to revisit it. And if it's tracking the same way, then great. If you need to make some small tweaks here and there, great. I started this a couple of years ago, and I just have a Google Doc where I jot all these questions down, and I pull up a new blank one, and I copy paste, and then I go through and I make a new one for the next year. And this one right here is always fun to revisit. So that way you can evaluate your purpose and see if things are still tracking the same way. And you might have a big life event that has happened, and some of that might change things, and that's okay. And it's exciting. So these are 11 questions to ask yourself as the new year 2025 gets started. I'll put them in the notes so that way you have copies. But thanks for sticking around, and we'll catch you on the next one.